the Boston Celtics. Now, look, I created this show because I wanted to always give credit where it's due, right? And so with us being Miami Heat fans, we're still unbiased. We're still unbiased. Like, me personally, I don't hate the Celtics. I'm not going to answer that for my co-hosts. Look, this is I thought about this maybe yesterday. The Heat and Celtics has to be like the only real rivalry in sports right now, right? And the rest of them are kind of like two teams holding on to something that used to be.
Yeah.
In the NBA, for
sure. At least in the
like,
NBA, for sure. Yeah.
In the other sports, definitely. It's definitely not the only rivalry. But in the NBA, there's not. Like the Heat and Knicks try to be something. Lakers, Celtics. It's like there's no animosity there. The Warriors don't really have like. The Warriors and Grizzlies was becoming a little rivalry there.
Yeah.
But, it's been a little bit. So.
Yeah. But like I was saying, regardless, we give credit where it's due. The Boston Celtics right now are 32-9. Not only first in the East, they're 4 games ahead of second in the East. Now, that's crazy. So when they first traded Marcus Smart, I was like, what are they going to do now? He was their identity. And I was only like that for about an hour. And then I realized, oh, no, they got Derrick White on the team. Like, they're just going with Derrick White. He showed them something. And he showed the world something, really, last year that says, okay, they can really rely on him. And I'm not jumping on the all-star train that J.J. Redick is on. But if he were to make it in, I wouldn't be surprised. Because on a team that good with somebody contributing that much, even though he did struggle recently, I don't pay too much attention to slumps. He's really helped that team keep their identity, which I didn't think was possible. And that's not even mentioning them bringing Drew Holiday in, who up until today I had no idea was leading the league in corner 3-point percentage.
They revamped their team. It almost felt like they were just like their teams, like the Celtics have been very good for a while. Basically, since Jayson Tatum's been in the league, they've been a good basketball team. It's felt like they've been missing something to get them over the hump. And it finally felt like they were like, let's do something about it. Like what's out there, give props to their front office for just about every acquisition that they've made. Because it's been the right one, trading for Derrick White, trading Josh Richardson at the time for Derrick White. It hit. Trading for Kristaps. That's hit. Trading away Malcolm Brogdon and so, and now getting Drew Holiday. That's hit. Like they've made this team who they have a 10 net rating, which by the way has been the highest net rating in the NBA since the Warriors in 2016, 2017, where they won the championship. So it's been, and it's the 11th highest of all time. Most of these teams won championships. We have 3 Warriors teams, 3 Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan teams. Like the teams that didn't win championships lost to one of the teams that won the championship that year. So it's like this is the company that they're with. And this team, it's been built in such a way where it's very interesting to me. It's very different because they're not statistically, they don't even drive the basketball as much as other teams do.
Right.
But their offense is still incredibly efficient. Like it's just so curious to see all these pieces and they're meshing together. But it's felt like they took a less is more approach. Like they condensed their rotation players and just got higher quality players at those, to take some of those minutes. And it's worked for them, man. From Tatum all the way down to the 7th guy on the bench. Like it's been very good for them this year. And they're the favorites to win the championship, point blank period. If we're really going to keep it honest here, it hurts my soul to say that, but it is what it is. And you have to, when you see talent, you got to respect it. The defensive things that they're doing with it's been going popular everywhere. Drew Holiday playing the middle of the zone and then them switching to man when the ball gets past the free throw line. Like you can't, credit to first of all,
Joe Mazulla,
it's very fun, to make fun of Joe Mazulla. He is not a bad basketball coach. I promise y'all that. Like he is a good coach. He's very, very young, first of all. So, mistakes are to be made, but his ability to change that team's offense from what it used to be with Ime Udoka and what happened there, and them to quickly pivot to Joe Mazulla and be more of a 3-point shooting team and still maintaining their offensive efficiency, if not fucking improving it, while now maintaining their defensive efficiency, like shit like that. Like, a lot of credit to Joe Mazulla, a lot of credit to the players on that team for changing the way that they've played. The Celtics are a fucking problem.
And yeah, Joe, credit to Joe Mazulla. I think he picked up that technique in watching The Town for the millionth time. No, I'm just kidding. No, he was he did that in college when he played for West Virginia. I believe he was the middleman when they beat Kentucky in the Elite Eight. I think it was. I think it was. If I'm not incorrect, I think it was the Boogie Cousins team. I think that's when he was playing. I'm not exactly sure, but it feels right around that time. But yeah, man, they're incredibly talented. They have a starting lineup where everyone's a 3-point threat. They're all shooting 5 or more 3-point attempts per game. Al Horford, the corpse of Al Horford is still a zombie out there. He's fucking playing well, defending his ass off, versatile, can play with Kristaps, can play the 5. They're starting Tatum and Brown at the forward spot, so they get size and versatility out there. Both of those guys are having really good, efficient years. Brown's continued improving. You mentioned Derrick White and Drew Holiday, just the defensive backcourt that is. My tenacity. And Drew has wanted to play the 2-guard spot for a while. When he was in New Orleans, he was demanding to play the 2-guard. He says he's more comfortable off the ball. Makes it easy for Derrick White. And you mentioned the Marcus Smart trade. I felt the exact same way. I'm like, Marcus Smart, like, for all his headaches and stuff, he was the heart and soul of that team. Mm-hmm. But it opened up when they opened up the opportunity to just sneak in and get Drew Holiday. And I was so upset. I was more upset than missing out on Dave that he let Drew go to Boston. Yeah. Because Drew's such a great fit with those guys. Just gonna compete, gonna defend, gonna do all the little things. I am still worried. One of the things that has really caught them every year in the playoffs, they don't have any depth. Right. They don't have any reliable depth, and they're still so top heavy. If one or two of those guys gets hurt or underperforms, it's a lot more pressure on the other top guys because it's harder to rely on the rotation guys if they're not getting the minutes. Now, Sam Hauser's had a good year, Peyton Pritchard's had a good year, but we've seen both of those guys get played off the floor in the playoffs, and to the point where Mazulla and what's this guy's name? I'm blanking on this guy, the Rockets coach.
Udoka.
And Udoka, both of them have made them unplayable. Like they would rather go with a 6 or 7 man rotation than play those guys and trust them. But so they both have stuff to prove. I don't really and that's also a bad thing. Like Lou, you mentioned how great they've done in the front office. I don't know if there's any versatility for this roster to make another move. I'm sure they're searching for it. I'm sure they'll find something. But I think this is the year they got to trust Sam Hauser. They got to trust Peyton Pritchard. If they want to be a serious team, because that you can't. It's really, really hard to go with a full 6-man rotation. Like even Denver had to trust Jeff Green in the finals, and he played well. But yeah, that's what sometimes these guys will do. Like they'll figure it out and they'll step up because they have the opportunity. But it's on Mazulla to give them the opportunity too.
Mm-hmm. And so I do want to. I don't want to move on without giving their front office credit for this. It was a couple years ago. So Al Horford had a stint in Philadelphia where he didn't play well, and I figured that was more of a fit thing anyway. But then he was in OKC where he just didn't match the timeline, and he was on the market, and I was like, people are really sleeping on Al Horford because he was having a great year in OKC. He just didn't make sense on that team.
He was hooping in Oklahoma
City.
He was hooping so much that they were like, "You're helping us win too many games.
Yeah, you're too good for this team.
Yeah, we need you to relax, buddy."
And then he ends up back in Boston. At the time, like I said, I don't hate the Celtics anymore. At the time, I felt differently because that's been a rivalry. Like at this point, we could say since 2008, the Heat and Celtics have been rivals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least 2010, and it's
2024
now.
Yeah, it was 09. 09 was the
09 when they eliminated D-Wade the first time.
D-Wade the first time.
Yeah, the Q-Rich KG thing.
Yeah. Q-Rich called them actors and all that stuff. Like, it was a whole thing. But they've been rivals since 2009, and it's 2024, and these teams still absolutely despise each other.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing it as a sports fan. I'm also sick of it because, like, it's like the Celtics are so fucking good. And with rivalries, usually a team goes away at some point. Somebody ends up being bad, and it just hasn't happened on either side. It's just been two Rams just hitting each other over and over again. And we know already at this point they're going to find each other in the playoffs again, and it's going to be another stressful bloodbath on both sides. And I wish we could postpone it in some sense, because I've been chilling this season. I've been happy. And I know it's going to be tough because also the Celtics both teams got better. As much as people talked about Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, but as Heat fans, we saw how they played last year. No disrespect to them, but both teams got better. I'll put it that way.
Roller coasters.
Yeah. So that's going to be stressful, man. And I'm not looking forward to it.
No, yeah. And you know, the East in general has improved. We talked about the Pacers. We talked about the Knicks. Philly's gotten better. The Bucks got Dame. I didn't say better because they haven't looked better, but they've got Dame. So it is what it is. But it's interesting to see how this Celtics team matches up with all those teams, because, you know, they have versatility within the players, but they don't have, like, they have versatility within their starters. But like Frankie said, their rotation isn't really deep. So if one of these guys gets hurt, what happens if somebody becomes banged up specifically at that 5 spot? If it's Porzingis or if it's Horford, like, how much are you trusting Luke Cornet out there for 15, 20 minutes in a playoff game? Mm-hmm. And how much are you trusting Peyton Pritchard out there for 15, 20 minutes in a playoff game? It's interesting to see who steps up for them, because talent-wise, man, they're good enough to win the whole thing. And they talk about Bruce Brown. They should be trying to see what that costs.
Don't give them that idea. Do not give them that idea.
No, realistically, I don't know who. I'm looking at
they can get to the salary.
Yeah. I just don't know who they're going to be able to move on and improve their depth. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how many picks they have. But whatever they do have, they should try to package everything and try to get at least one more rotation guy, because I do think they're one rotation guy away from not just winning this year, but being a contender. As long as they have, to be honest, guys, like, as long as they got Tatum, Brown, Derrick White, Porzingis, that they got these guys locked up for years to come, like, they're going to be a contender. So just get you somebody that kind of fits their timeline at a cheap price, and they'll be a problem to mess with for not just the East, but, you know, if they make it to the finals, whoever comes out of the West as well.
Yeah, they have almost all their picks. They have their immediate picks, so they can make some moves. But the highest salary out of their non-top 6 guys is Peyton Pritchard at $4 million. So I don't know if they can get there to any of these guys that'll really make a difference, like a Bruce Brown, thank God. Trade exceptions, I don't know. Oh, that might be a good idea to check that. No, they have a $6 million trade exception. That they could use that and probably get a decent player with some picks.
I wouldn't put it past them, but even on the buyout market. So
and Brad Stevens, I think, did say they're going to be aggressive and try to find something anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know their cap situation, but I know there's a lot of restrictions now with the buyout market. Like, if you're over like the tax at a certain point, you can't get guys that on the buyout market that made a certain amount of money. Mm-hmm. It's weird rules. They made it really difficult to understand. But oddly enough, I think Al Horford might be their most important player outside of, like, Jayson Tatum, because he's the main guy on Joel Embiid. He's the main guy to guard Giannis. He's the main guy to guard Bam. And he got a step slow last year. He started seeing some of his age. His lateral quickness was a little bit slower, which is understandable. He's 40. Mm-hmm. But if he misses any time in the playoffs or loses another step, gets a little banged up, like, I don't know who. Are you trusting Tatum? Or are you trusting Porzingis to guard those big guys? I don't know how Embiid and Giannis have done specifically against Porzingis, but I know Bam's eating his lunch.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Porzingis has had no answer for Bam.
Giannis as well, so it's gonna be like you stated, like it's interesting because if anybody goes down, like they're gonna have some trouble, but if they stay healthy, man, like
that's a tough team.
They've been healthy all year, plus 10 net rating, like it historically good so far this year, better than they were last year at this point. Yeah. And they were pretty fucking good last year as well. So like, it's they've got an identity. Derrick White just seems to be everywhere where he needs to be. Like he's literally, we talk about perfect role players. I
over a block a game at his size.
Yeah, I don't want to call him a role player because he's better than a fucking role player.
He's a starter. He's a damn good starter.
Yeah, he's also one of, I want to give him credit because he's one of the best, just like Kenny said, a blocking him. He's one of the best rim protecting guards in all of basketball. Yeah. Not just in terms of blocks, but in terms of field goal percentage at the rim. Yeah. Him and Drew Holiday are so good at guarding the rim at their undersized size that it makes them so versatile defensively. Obviously, Tatum, when he's locked in, is a very good defender. Jaylen Brown is a very athletic guy. Porzingis is very rangy, very lengthy.
Big as hell.
Yeah, big as hell. So they can cause issues in all sorts of ways. And then, but Derrick White does deserve all the love he's getting from JJ Redick because he's been good for some time. And he was one of my draft crushes back then. I got a very good friend who is a Spurs fan. And as soon as they drafted him, I was like, man, you guys are gonna love him there. Like Pop is gonna love him. Some injuries and he had to get traded, but the Celtics are reaping the benefits of his price at that time.
And so if I were a Celtics fan, the thing that would scare me is a mixture of what y'all said with the depth, and they still have this thing where they fall in love with the jumper a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, they can all shoot, like y'all stated. So that wouldn't scare me too much, but that has been kind of their Achilles heel. They've kind of shot themselves in the foot with that in playoff series, and with the fact that in the playoffs you got this small rotation playing heavy minutes. There's going to be games where you just don't have the legs, and so that will concern me if I were a Celtics fan personally. But as a Miami Heat fan, when they are hitting those jumpers, it's like a fucking stab in the chest.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, I'm looking. They are the fourth least. Like they drive the fourth least to the rim in the NBA, only behind the Warriors, the Nuggets. I mean, they don't need a drive. They got Jokic and the Lakers. So like, it's super
pressure. So
it's just super interesting how like we try to box teams in. Like you need to be able to drive and kick to play to win basketball games. Like you need to be able to do this. Like there's so many different ways because at the very top of the list you got Oklahoma City with the most drives per game. So there's like
depends on personnel and scheme.
Yeah, there's different ways to peel the nap or something like that. There's like I'm not good with sayings, guys, but you go.